My name is Dayna Hyppolite, and I am a project assistant with WCAPS, assisting Ambassador Jenkins with the Redefining National Security Project. And I am here to talk to you about my struggle with imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome for me began with one of my former positions. I worked with a diplomatic mission accredited to the United Nations back in New York, so the New York headquarters. And this diplomatic mission was the one for Haiti, so the Haitian diplomatic mission. And of course, as you know, the United Nations is pretty much international relations, diplomacy, and some politics. And I felt as if I was an imposter there, if I may say that, because I have my bachelor's in English literature and languages, and I have my master's in organizational leadership, which is part of management, but not so much on the numbers side, but more of the people side, learning how to lead people. So upon arriving at my position there with the mission to the United Nations, I was instructed by the ambassador at that time to follow and assist with the work for the Fifth Committee, also known as the Administrative and Budgetary Committee. This committee focuses on everything that has to do with finance, budget, and administration management for the whole entire organization, whether it's at the headquarters or on the field. With my time there, so for content, I was with the mission and the United Nations for nearly 7 years. I actually nearly 6 years, from 2012 to 2017, very late within the year of 2017. And from 2013 to 2017, I played the role of chairperson for several negotiation sessions for the Fifth Committee. So my experience as a chairperson for these negotiation sessions, I will start with the first one. I remember they were asking, the practice is each regional group ask people within these groups to volunteer for the role of chairing these negotiation sessions. And I remember for one of them, I was just very much interested in the topic, and I volunteered. Not because I was a diplomat in comparison to my colleagues, whom were all diplomats. They studied diplomacy, they studied international relations, they studied politics. Whereas for myself, my bachelor's is in English literature and languages, and my master's is in organizational leadership. So of course that obviously does not show that I have a background in diplomacy or international relations, but just for the practice of it, I volunteered, and I did so well within the first negotiation session. I was asked to do several others subsequently. Now, the difficult part within these negotiation sessions are you're literally chairing negotiations for diplomats from all over the world, and they are grouped by region. And I remember for one of them, actually the most difficult one, was for two very high-profile countries, and they could not come to a consensus. And I remember one of the tactics that I learned within a seminar that I attended from my very first months joining the committee is, for example, let's say several parties want to use one item. You have to figure out what parts of the item is more useful to each party's respectively. So, for example, an orange. You have an orange. The orange has the zest, which is the skin. It has the pulp, which produces the juice. So you have to figure out what party uses or would need which parts of this item. So for the orange example, you have the skin. If someone wants to do like a cake and they just want to have the zest for the cake, or if someone wants to make orange juice and they just need the pulp and the juice. So the tactic is to first listen to what each party wants, figure out what they need, why do they need it, and just go from there. And another tactic that I used quite often is the laissez-faire leadership style. And that is when you're not imposing yourself into the negotiation sessions. You let the parties discuss amongst themselves what they need, what they don't want, what is problematic, and what is a solution for them. You do not impose yourself into the talks as a chairperson, and you don't show any biases as well, regardless of your region. For example, I was working for the diplomatic mission of Haiti. Haiti is part of CARICOM, Haiti is part of GRULAC. And whenever there was a negotiation session that had to do with focusing for either the CARICOM group or the GRULAC regional group, me as the chairperson did not impose myself in the talks just to be biased or have preference for either the CARICOM group or the GRULAC regional group. I sat back, I let all regional groups talk among themselves, figure out what's going to work for everyone, how to break the issues down and come to a solution. And I think that was one of the reasons why I was asked subsequently to chair several other negotiation sessions, because um, I did not exude any biases. I did not impose myself. I sat back, and whenever it was time for me to really intervene, when the two parties or the several parties couldn't come to a consensus, that would be the time that I would come in and step in and provide some guidance to them and see how they can come to a resolve. But again, my imposter syndrome um, showed because I don't have a background. I did not have a formal background or an academic background in international relations. I did not have a background in diplomacy or politics. I studied English lit, and just the fact that that involves, talking, and just, I guess my personality was something that was attractive to, um, the kind of work that I was doing as a chairperson, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to listen, analyze what they're saying, and try to come to a resolution and not really impose yourself and just I don't know, just show that you're not really listening and you're imposing your own thoughts or your own ideas. I'm still struggling with imposter syndrome, but I think it's reducing. Um, I, especially me being in WCAPS, I see that it's a very strong network and it's a very strong community. It has a very strong mentorship characteristic, and I appreciate that. So I just want to say to everyone out there who also is struggling with imposter syndrome that if I can say from my own experiences, it's in your head. You may think you're not qualified, but others around you think you're even overqualified. So just do what you have to do it with conviction, have faith in yourself, believe in yourself, stick to it, and you'll be all right. And look at me.